So we will begin with the first question, which is asking what is 108 as a fraction of 648? So essentially what this is 108 over 648. Now to simplify this, we need to see what goes into both of these numbers. So if we were to divide both of them by 2, we have 54 over 324. Now, once again, we can divide both numbers here by 2 again. So now we have 27 over 162. This is the same as 9 over 54 if we were to divide both numerator and denominator by 3. Now, 9 goes into 54. So if we were to divide 54 by 9, we have 6, and 9 divided by 9 is 1. So the simplest form we have here is 1 over 6. Now, going on to the next question, we are asked which one of the following lists is in decreasing order. Decreasing means we start with the largest number and work our way downwards. Now, we can already eliminate A, as it puts 0.05 as larger than 0.15. Now, decreasing order for B as well eliminated because 0.05 is one of the smallest numbers, and again it isn't larger than 0.15. Now, the two options we have left are either C or D. To work with this, what we normally should be doing is converting all of them into decimals just to make it clearer. So the first fraction we have that we need to convert is 17 over 50, which is the same as 34 over 100, which as a fraction is 0.34. Now we can see already that this is larger than both of the decimals we already have. The next fraction we have is 1 over 5, which is the same as 2 over 10, which is equivalent to 0.2 or 0.20 if we were to put it all into 2 decimal places. Now we can see that if we were to compare 0.34, 0.20, 0.15 and 0.05, the largest we have is 0.34, which is 17 over 50, which is what D starts with. The second largest number we have is 0.20, which is 1 over 5, which is exactly the same order as in D, which is followed by 0.15 as the third largest and 0.05 as the smallest number. So with this question, the correct answer is D. Now, question 3 is asking us the size of the angle B in this polygon. Now, the first thing we do is count all the sides of the polygon. It does say regular polygon, so we know that the interior angles or the interior circle here is going to add up to 360. So if we divide by all of these little pieces or all of the sides, it's going to give us the angle B, as all of these angles in these triangles are equivalent. Now, this polygon has 8 sides, so to find angle B, we do 360 divided by 8, which is equivalent to 45 degrees. So your answer here would be 45. The next question here is asking us to work out the value of y if 4y equals 144. So we have 4y equals 144. So to get y, we divide both sides by 4. Because now these 4's here cancel, so we have y equals 144 over 4, and as it is a non-calculator paper, we'll just divide it by 2 for now, so divide numerator and denominator by 2. So we have 72 over 2, and 72 divided by 2 is equal to 36. So your answer here is 36, y equals 36. To go back, we can check if this is correct, so we just substitute it into our equation. So 4 times y, which is 36, is equal to 144. As long as this calculation here is correct, we know that we have the correct value for y. For question 5, we have 3 squared over 3 minus 28. So 3 squared is equivalent to 3 times 3, which is equal to 9. So we have 9 divided by 3 minus 28. 9 divided by 3 is equal to 3. So our equation now is 3 minus 28, which is equal to negative 25. So our answer here would be minus 25. Moving on from this question, we move on to question 6. Question 6 gives us a cylinder with a radius of 7 centimeters and height of 10 centimeters. It gives us a substitution value for pi, which is 22 over 7. What is the volume of the cylinder? Now, to work out the volume of a cylinder, what we need to consider is the equation for this. So the equation for the volume of a cylinder is the area of the front face, so the front face here is a circle, multiplied by the height of the cylinder. So the area of the front face is the area of a circle, so pi r squared, and then we times that by the height of the cylinder, which is h. So this over here is equivalent to the volume of a cylinder. So all we need to do is just substitute our values into this equation and figure out the volume. So we have pi is equivalent to 22 over 7 times by radius squared, which is times by 7 times by 7. And then we multiply that by our height, which is 10. I'm just going to move the screen down just so I can actually write a little bit better. Or maybe I'll just delete this one for now just to have more, a clearer space for our working out. So we have pi as 22 over 7 times by 7 times by 7 times by 10. Now, the two 7s here can cancel, so we'll get rid of that one and we'll get rid of this one. So our new equation is equal to 22 times by 7 times by 10. This is the same as 22 times 7, which is 154 times by 10, which is equal to 1,540. Now this is in centimeters cubed, so the answer here would be 1,540 centimeters cubed. Question 7 is asking us what is 11 over 8 minus 1 over 16. In order to minus fractions, what we need to do is have a common denominator. So we want the number at the bottom here to be the same. We can see that 8 and 16, well, if we times 8 by 2, we get 16. So now essentially if we times this whole fraction here by 2 over 2, so what I mean by this is 11 over 8. If we times the top by 2 and the bottom by 2, we're essentially just multiplying itself by 1 because 2 divided by 2 is just 1, so we are able to do this. This gives us 22 over 16. Now the question is asking us what is 11 over 8 or 22 over 16 minus 1 over 16. So minus 1 over 16. Oh, I do apologize. We are now left with 21 over 16. Now, to get this as a mixed number, what we need to do is see how many times 16 goes into 21. So 16 goes into 21 once, and we are left over 21 minus 16 is 5 over the denominator stays the same, 16. So as a mixed number, this is equivalent to 1 and 5/16. So the correct answer is C. Now, if you are confused with this, just to double check this, essentially what you would do is do 1 times 16, which is 16 plus 5, to convert this back into an improper fraction, which is 21/16. Moving on from this, question 8 is asking us 4.50 divided by 0.05. Now, dividing by a decimal is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 0.05 is 1 over 0.05. This is the same for any other decimal. So if it was the reciprocal of 0.2, it would be 1 over 0.2. Now 1 over 0.05 is equal to 20. So it's just how many times does 0.05 go into 1? It goes into it 20 times. So if we times 0.05 by 2, we get 0.1, and 0.1 goes into 1 10 times. So now the reciprocal, like we just mentioned, if we times the 4.5 by 20, it's the same as dividing it by 0.05. So now for this question, we have 4.5 times by 1 over 0.05, which is the same as 4.5 times by 20, which is equal to 90. So the answer here would be 90. For question 9, we have a triangle and we're asked to work out the perimeter of the triangle. Now we can see that the angles within the triangle should add up to 180. So we have 60 here, 60 here, which means the final angle down here would also be 60, which means over here we have an equilateral triangle. With an equilateral triangle, all sides are the same length. So we have 24 here. This length here is also equal to 24, and this length here will also be equal to 24. So this over here is 24 centimeters, or millimeters, sorry, and this over here is also 24 millimeters. So to work out the perimeter, we do 24 plus 24 plus 24. So if we total those together, the answer would be 72 millimeters. Question 10 is regarding a call center aiming to deal with calls in less than 5 minutes. Calls come in randomly and the table shows data for the calls made to the center. We have the type of call, which could either be customer complaints or new business calls. We have the proportion of all calls and calls completed in less than 5 minutes. We're asked to work out the probability that the next call will be a customer complaint completed within under 5 minutes. So what we're looking for here is customer complaint 1 over 4 times by it being completed in less than 5 minutes, 1/2. So over here we have a quarter times by a half, which is equal to the numerators multiplied, so 1 times 1 is 1, and the denominators multiplied, so 4 times 2 is 8. The answer for this question will be 1 over 8. Moving on to question 11, we are given some information that the government announces that minimum wage for people over 25 years old will increase from £8.21 to £8.72 per hour. A 26-year-old woman works 30 hours a week and is paid the minimum wage, so she's currently being paid £8.21. She thinks that the extra money she will earn from the £8.72 increase will cover a rent increase of £20 per week. Is the woman correct? Now, we start by approaching this question by calculating her current wage per week. So we are told she works 30 hours a week, so 30 times by her current wage is £8.21. So we times 30 by £8.21, and this is equivalent to £246.30. Now, her new wage is what we calculate next. So with her new wage, she's working the same hours, which are 30 hours, times by £8.72. 2. Just fix this 8 over here. And this is equal to £261.60. Now, she wants this to cover a rent increase of £20 per week. The difference between these figures over here is £15 and 30p. Now, because her wage is only increased by £15 and 30p a week, and her rent increase is £20, the amount she's making now will not cover the rent increase, so she is not correct, no. And if you were to explain this, all you would have to write is just £15, 30 is less than £20 needed. Now, for question 12, a driver sees the speed limit in France and the speed is in kilometers per hour. So the speed limit is 130 kilometers per hour. He is driving at 80 miles per hour and thinks that this is below the speed limit. Is he correct? Now, to calculate this, what we will do is we have the equation here that 1 kilometer is 5 over 8 miles. So using this, 130 kilometers from the speed limit is equivalent to timesing both sides by 130. So we have 5 over 8 times by 130, which is equal to 81.25 miles. So the speed limit in France is 81.25 miles. And we just get this by doing 5 times 130 divided by 8. Now, he is driving 80 miles an hour, which is under the speed limit of £81.25. So he is correct in saying that he is below the speed limit. Yes. For question 13, we have information that a man has a fish tank with the following dimensions and needs to know the approximate value of the tank. Now, with approximations, what we do is we round the numbers either up or down, depending on if it's above 5 or lower than 5. So what I mean by that is 29 centimeters, we round it up. So this is equivalent to 30 centimeters for this equation. 41 centimeters, we round down because it's 1 at the end. So this is equivalent to 40 centimeters in this equation. And 24 centimeters, we will round to 25 centimeters, only because it's easier to work with. So we just, in approximations, we either want it to end in a 0 or end in a 5 just to make our multiplication easier. Now, for the volume of the tank, we need to times the length, the width, and the height. So we times all of these values together. So we have 25 times by 40 times by 30. So doing these calculations, 25 times by 40 is equivalent to 1,000, and times that by 30, the answer we have left is 30,000. So the answer here would be 30,000 centimeters cubed. This is the end of section 1 and also the end of the non-calculator paper.